A very good morning to all the students. So today I will be discussing in connection with the specification of planar mechanisms, planar operations, salient features of double housing planar, and what is the difference between the shaper and the planar. So before I proceed with the today's session, we need to understand, we need to review what we have discussed in the previous session. So in the previous session, we have started with introduction to planar along with the working principle and along with the working of double column, that is a standard planar, with the construction and working in detail. So and also the types of planars which are commonly used for the production of large workpieces. So now we need to understand in this session in connection with the specification of a planar, okay, and all these concepts which you are going to see clearly on the screen. So now we need to understand here, before we proceed with the today's presentation, so we have to understand in brief about the meaning of a specification. So whenever we are going to speak about the specification, it is nothing but a term that is related to the size, basically the size and different speed, feed ranges, feed, depth of cut, type of mechanism, etc. for connected to any type of a machine when it is used for the useful machining operation. So like that, we also need to understand here how a planar is being specified as a large machine. So the specification of a planar is specified by the dimensions like distance between the two housings. So if you are able to recollect yourself what we have discussed in the previous session, we know very well that the two housings, okay, that decides the total width of the bed, because the two housings are responsible for giving the moment to the cross rail, as well as it is provided exactly in the midway between the bed of a planar, because as we know very well that the size of the planar is considered by taking into consideration the width of the table. If the width of the table is higher, then larger the distance between the two housings. So that is why distance between the two housings is also considered. Housings are nothing but the columns which are provided between the two sides of a bed. Height from the top of the table to the cross rail in its upmost position. This is also very, very important. Suppose when we are going to take the table, okay, when we take the cross rail to the topmost position, okay, along with the column ways, then you are going to get a certain height. So that decides how much total height of the workpiece that can be machined, because that decides the overall size of a planar. Maximum length of the table travel, this is also very, very important, because one thing we need to understand here, the length of the table is half of the length of the bed, or in other words, the length of the bed is twice the length of the table. That is the design of a planar. So now we need to understand maximum length of the table travel, because that table travel decides the workpiece that can be planed. If the length of the workpiece is higher, then we require to adjust the length of the stroke as more, and largest job that can be machined. Means this is all a very, very important concepts as far as the construction, design and specification of a planar is concerned. Means what is the largest dimension of the job that can be machined. So again we are discussing in the today's session, in the last, that is the salient features and additional parameters. So these are considered as a main. That means the largest job that can be machined, the distance between the two housings, and height and maximum table travel. These are considered as the basic requirements whenever we want to place an order for a planar. But additional parameters we need to understand here, like number of feeds available. So because number of feeds available means how many tools are there, what is the amount of feed rate that we can give the highest in each stroke. That also decides number of speeds available. How many speeds? That means here number of speeds is nothing but the driving mechanism of a table here, because we know one important thing in a planar, that the table is made to travel to and fro. Okay, so how the speed of this can be available on a planer. Length of the bed. So length of the bed also decides the other parameter. Length of the table. We know one important thing. Again, I will repeat it. The length of the bed of a planer is always twice the length of the table. Power input means how much power is required, because especially in case of a double housing planer, the whatever the power of the motor is there, it should be above 100 HP horsepower. And floor space required, how much amount of floor space is required, because as a planer is a very large machine, okay, we require to have a larger space area for installation of the planer. Method of driving table, geared or hydraulic. So this is also very, very important, because we know one important thing here, concept here, that it is the table that is made to travel to and fro. That is the cutting stroke and the return stroke, both are given with the help of a table only in case of a planer. So when this is carried out, what type of mechanism we are going to use, because that decides the most important part here. Okay. So whether the mechanism used is table, geared type or hydraulic type, that decides the other parameter. Net weight of the machine. This is also one of, that means whenever we want to go for the placing of a planer, okay, then what all points that we require to understand before we place an order, because that plays a very important role, especially in industries. Now let us understand what type of mechanisms are used for driving the work table of a planer. A planer driving mechanism provides the longitudinal to and fro motion of the planer work table. So we know one important principle here. Above the bed, guideways, the work table is installed or located, and the work table is made to move on the perfectly machined guideways of the bed. That is always stationary, and the work table is made to move with the help of the following mechanisms. So what type of mechanisms are used? Open and cross belt drive. This is also very, very important. This is the most commonly used type of drive that is used in a planer, that is called as open and cross belt drive. Now the concept of theory of machines, mechanics of machines will come into play here, which you have already learnt in your MOM subject, that is the belt drives. What is the advantage of using the open belt drive, cross belt drive, etc., all those things. So that application, working principle, can also be applicable for the planer mechanisms. The next one coming is the gear drive. Whether are we going to drive directly, that is also an important role here, very, very important. So there are 4 important types of mechanisms which are used for driving the work table of a planer. The first one is open and cross belt drive. Second one is the gear drive, where we are going to use the pinion and rack arrangement, and the next one is the reversible motor drive and hydraulic drive, which we have also discussed in case of a shaper. So these mechanisms are preferred depending upon the requirement. But out of this, the most commonly used type of mechanism which is used for driving the table is nothing but open and cross belt drive mechanism. Okay, so now let us understand and read, and then I'm going to explain in detail with the sketch here. Planer mechanism requires providing to and fro motion to the machine table. What is the basic working principle? The basic working principle of a planer is such that we require to give the to and fro motion to the work table of a planer. That too, we are going to adopt the principle of quick return motion. How we have used the same principle in case of a shaper while driving the ram of a shaper. Quick return mechanism is also employed to give faster movement during the idle stroke. So why this quick return motion mechanism is used? The basic idea of using the quick return motion mechanism is to see that during the cutting stroke, the work table has to move slowly and it has to move faster when there is no cutting off or the planing operation is going to take place on a workpiece. So that is called as an idle stroke. Most planers carry this system of open and cross belt drive for the quick return of the tables. Just I have told, most of the planers are provided with this. This mechanism consists of 2 belts, open and 1 there are two belts actually. One is called as an open belt and another one is called as a cross belt operating on two loose and fast pulleys. Let us understand here. Now I am going to explain in detail about this now. As you are going to see on the top, the counter shaft is used only to hold the other side of the belts here. So now you are going to see clearly on a screen that this is called as a cross belt. As you are going to see, it is cross rear, and this is called as an open belt. And we need to understand, so whenever we are going to use, whether it is an open belt drive or a cross belt drive, we require the pulleys. So as you are going to see here, the pulleys like this, set of pulleys, and here also you are going to see the set of pulleys very clearly there. So these are the words which you need to understand here. There are two types of pulleys known as the fast pulley and another one is called as a loose pulley. So one of the pulleys is, we are going to call it as a fast pulley, and the another one we are going to call it as a loose pulley. So what is the main function of these pulleys? That is very, very important. We know one important concept here. The pulleys are basically used where it is used to give motion to the, that means they are being driven with the help of a shaft. They are actually mounted on a shaft, as you are going to see very clearly here. Okay, this is the shaft which is driven. That is why you are going to have a driving pinion. You are also going to have a speed reduction. Speed reduction is nothing but a gearbox which is used. Here it is being driven by a motor continuously. Then there is a reduction of the speed. Required speed is given with the help of a gearbox designed. Then the position of the belt decides which type of stroke is going to take place. This is very, very important. Now the question comes here is, as I have told, what is the main function of a fast pulley and what is the main function of a loose pulley? That is what we need to understand here clearly. The loose pulleys, as the name itself implies, they are loose. They are not going to rotate. Try to understand, they are not going to rotate along with the rotation of the shaft. Suppose if the shaft rotates, this is free. It is not going to rotate. But whereas in the same condition, the fast pulley is going to rotate. That's all. Because why this is done? This mechanism is considered because we want to rotate only one set of pulley. At a time, we require to rotate either cross belt or we require to, that means we require to give the motion to the cross belt or we require to give the motion to the open belt drive. Because this cross belt drive, as you are going to see, just I will draw that figure. See, this is one belt, this is, sorry, one pulley, another pulley is there, and this is called as a cross belt. As you are going to see very clearly here, see the arc length here, this is called as a contact arc. So that is why the cross belt drives are always used for the purpose of carrying out the cutting stroke. That means during the forward stroke, whatever is there, that cutting stroke is going to take place with the help of a cross belt. But whereas whenever I want to consider the open belt drive, let us consider an open belt drive here. See, this is called as an open belt drive. You see the arc is very less. So that means in this condition, see the diameter of the pulleys are same, and what happens here, only the shifting of the belt is going to take place. It is very clear when the cross belt is there, the pulley movement is going to take place slowly. When open belt is there, the pulley movement is going to take place fast. So that is how the shifting of the belts will take place whenever the cutting strokes and the return strokes are going to be carried out. So now let us understand what type of, in the given figure, what type of motion is being given. That is very, very important here. Okay, so as you are going to see clearly here, this mechanism consists of two belts, one open and one cross, operating on two loose and fast pulleys. This is very, very important. The main driving shaft is provided below the bed. You are going to see this is all provided below the bed only. This is the main driving mechanism, okay, which is driven. And now you are going to see one end carries the pinion which meshes with the rack provided under the table of the machine. So as you are going to see here clearly, so this is called as a pinion, and this is the driving shaft which is connected to a motor, and here you are going to see this is called as a rack. Okay, and as you know very well, when this pinion rotates, it is in contact with the rack teeth, the table will start moving, giving the movement. Okay, that is very, very important. But this movement whatever is there that movement depends upon on which pulley the belt is there, whether is it the fastening of the belt is there on the open fast pulleys or on the loose pulleys. That decides the type of stroke being carried out. Now let us understand here clearly. Again, I am going in detail now. Try to understand the same figure. I am continuing. Cross belt is used for the forward or cutting stroke. Just I have told. Why cross belt is used? Because we want to see that the forward stroke is going to take place slowly. So the cross belt drive can give a slow motion to the pinion there, which you are going to see, and the open belt for return motion. For open belt for the return motion, which has to take place quickly. Cross belt is connected to fast pulley. See here very clearly. Cross belt is connected to fast pulley, as you are going to see very clearly here. Okay, cross belt is connected to fast pulley and open belt is connected to loose pulley, and it enables slow movement of the table during the forward stroke. So we need to understand here that during the forward stroke, okay, we require to connect the cross belt to the fast pulley. Why we are connecting it to the fast pulley? The reason to connect it to the fast pulley is this pulley is going to be given a motion in turn to the pinion, as you are going to see clearly here. Okay, so that is why during the forward or the cutting stroke, the crossed belt is made to get connected with the fast pulley. Similarly, exactly reverse is the case. So especially if at all I want to go for the return stroke, which is to be faster, then I am going to connect the open belt to the fast pulley. Try to understand. The open belt is connected to the fast pulley during the return stroke. The crossed belt is connected to the fast pulley during the cutting stroke. That is the only basic difference. So now trip docks. See here clearly. These are called as the trip docks. So which were not shown. I'll just make it a larger here once again, because how this shifting is going to take place. So the work table is connected with the trip dock. This is called the trip dock, which you are going to see a small one. So whenever it is going to reach a particular position, okay, then belt shifter is there. You are going to see the belt shifter mechanism, which shifts from fast pulley to loose pulley, etc. That is how the working mechanism is there. Now trip docks mounted at each end of the table indicate the end of the stroke, and belt shifter shifts the belts to the different pulleys. So once the table strikes the trip docks, so the belt shifter gets activated, and this belt, the main function of the belt shifting means what? It's a mechanism which can shift either the cross belt or the open belt to the respective type of pulleys, whether it may be a fast pulley or it may be a loose pulley. Now open belt is connected to the fast pulley. So now the question mark comes, which stroke we are discussing here? Try to see the mechanism clearly. Okay, so now whatever the sketch which you are going to see here, the connection made for the pulleys is nothing but it is a return stroke, because just observe carefully here. Once again I will explain in detail. This is called as an open belt, which is connected to the fast pulley here. Okay, so once it is connected to the fast pulley, then the return stroke is going to take place. Similarly, you are going to see the cross belt being connected to this loose pulley. So that is why what you are going to get here, loose pulley means what? That pulley will not rotate. That is why it is called as a loose pulley. That is very, very important. This enables faster movement and provides quick return motion for the machine table. So this particular concept is used to see that the cutting stroke is going to take place slowly and the return stroke faster. This is very, very important point to be noted. Now we shall have an understanding in brief about the operations. So whatever the operations which we are discussed in the shapers, the same type of operations can also be carried out on a planer. Whenever we want to go for the same operations being carried out on a larger workpiece, then there is a preference of the planer. Planing flat horizontal surfaces, especially the planing flat horizontal surfaces means what? The top surfaces are the most commonly used. Planing flat vertical surfaces means the one which are considered as the height or the thickness of the large workpieces. Planing angular surfaces and machining dovetails. Even whenever we want to go for the dovetail operation of a big tables, then also we are going to use the planers. Planing curved surfaces, planing slots and grooves. If you are going to recollect yourself what we have discussed in case of a shaper, the same operations are also being carried out on a planer. That is very, very important point to be noted. Now let us understand, as a part of understanding clearly, now the most commonly used type of a planer is called as a double housing planer. Then what are its features that we need to understand here very, very clearly. See, now as you are going to see, high speed, heavy duty and rigid machines. So why this double housing planer is used? Basically it can provide a very high speed machine. It is a heavy duty which can be robust in construction, and rigid machines, very strong, high degree of surface finish. It is possible to achieve high degree of surface finish, as you are going to see that there are 4 tool heads which are considered here, which we have discussed in length in the previous session. Work mounted on the table which reciprocates while the tool is held on the machine frame and fed into the work. We know one important thing here, always work is mounted firmly on the table and gets reciprocated, and the motion is given with the help of a cross rail, okay, or the tool head. Accommodate, it can accommodate large workpieces of size as large as, try to understand, 3 meters by 3 meters into 18.25 millimeters. Now the question comes here, 3 meter is the length, 3 meter is the width, and the 18.25 millimeters is the thickness of the workpiece. So again I'll repeat, 3 meter into, this is the largest size, 3 meters, just imagine it. That means like that decides the you can understand that it's a very big machine compared to the shaper. Quick planing of the work with deep cuts and heavy feeds. It is possible to give quick planing because it is having 4 tool heads. That is why the operation can be done very fast with deep cuts and heavy feeds can be given. Tool stationary and work moving, that we have already discussed. Multiple tooling there by machining of more than one surface. That is why they are suitable for mass production, continuous production. All the surfaces can be machined. Tools used are heavier, stronger and larger. So one important concept we need to understand. So whatever the type of tool that we are going to use is always a single point cutting tool only in case of a planer, but we need to understand they are heavy, larger in size. That is very, very important. Cutting and return strokes are uniform throughout the stroke. That mechanism decides that cutting and return strokes are uniform. There is no variation in the strokes. Wide range of cutting speed and return speeds are available. So again that depends upon what type of mechanism we are going to adopt. Okay, requires large floor area and power up to 150 horsepower. As I have told that you can go for the large floor area is required, and it can having a power of 150 HP. Okay, so that you can understand it's a very heavy machine. Now as a last concept in the today's presentation, we require to understand, because this is very, very important, that is what is the difference or comparison between the shaper and planer. These are the most common questions which will be asked in the examinations, whether you have understood the basic working principle or not. So in the left side you are going to see the shaper, and in the right side you are going to consider the planer. So both are coming under the category of reciprocating motions only in their basic working conditions. Okay, in the shaper, in this machine, the tool work table is stationary okay, and tool reciprocates. This is very, very important. The work in this machine tool, work table is stationary. We know in Shaper the work table is stationary, whereas the tool is made to move. So in case of a planer, exactly it is reverse. In this machine tool, work table reciprocates and the tool is stationary. You have to write clearly and correctly in the examinations. Used for smaller workpieces. Till now we have discussed that planers are preferable for large and shapers are used for the smaller workpieces, but as far as the application is concerned, both are same. Cannot take deeper cut. Shapers cannot be used because basically it is very small, means compared to the planer it is a smaller one. Planer can take deeper cuts because it is provided with heavy tools and heavy workpieces. At a time, one tool will work. So this is one of the major drawbacks of a shaper. In shaper, I cannot go for a multiple tool holding. That is a major drawback of a shaper, but whereas in case of a planer, it is possible to go for holding more than one cutting tools, work at a time, because if you again recollect yourself what we have discussed, try to imagine that double housing is there and the cross rail is there. On the cross rail there are two tool heads and on the column you will be having two tool heads. So totally we have got 4 cutting tools to be operated at a time. So that is why, but whereas in case of a shaper, only one cutting tool which is provided on the tool head of a ram is made to reciprocate. It is light, less rigid and a cheaper machine tool. Shaper is definitely, it is a lightweight machine, less rigid means less strong compared to the planer, and a cheaper machine tool, but whereas it is heavier, more rigid and costlier machine tool. So that is why the industries will take the decisions depending upon their job type, whether they are going for a large workpiece, whether they are going for mass product identical jobs. That decision is taken by the industries, whether they are, what type of machine they are supposed to install and all that. But we need to understand here, this is the basic working difference, how they are going to be considered, and these are the expected questions in the examinations. So as you are going to see on the screen in the today's session, we are ending up the session, and along with this I am also going to attach one of the important video. Just go through that. List the various operations performed in a planer. What type of operations are being performed in a planer, and differentiate between the shaper and the planer. So we need to understand here the differentiation just which we already discussed in length just now. Try to recollect, try to write and try to answer the questions which are very, very important from the examination point of view. Okay.
Is reciprocated under the cutter. So here you can see the planer machine. Now this is a table of the planer machine and this is the tool post of a planer machine. So here you have to fix the cutting tool and here you can fix the workpiece. Now the major difference in between shaper and planer is the planer have reciprocating motion to the workpiece. So here the table reciprocates, whereas in shaper machine the cutting tool reciprocates. So in planer machine the table reciprocates, whereas the cutting tool remains stationary. Next point, workpiece imparts feed motion while cutting tool gives cutting motion. So here you can see the shaper machine. So here you can fix your workpiece over the table of the shaper machine and here you can fix the cutting tool. Now after first cut the feed is given with the help of the table. Okay, so after first cut the feed is given, then the cutting tool again reciprocates, it removes the material from the workpiece, again the feed is given with the help of table, so the table can move along this axis. So this is the arrangement for moving the table horizontally along this axis. So the feed is given by the table. Now the planing machine, workpiece imparts cutting motion while cutting tool gives feed motion. So here you can see, now over the planer machine you can fix the workpiece over here and cutting tool over here. So after the first cut the feed is given to the cutting tool, because here the workpiece is a reciprocating member, it can only reciprocates along this axis, it cannot move along this axis. Okay, your workpiece cannot move along this axis, it can only reciprocates along along this axis, right? So in this case, the cutting tool gives the feed motion. Here you can fix the cutting tool, and your cutting tool can move along this axis with the help of this arrangement. So the cutting tool gives the feed motion, whereas the reciprocating motion is given by the table. Next point, shaping operation is performed in a machine tool called shaper, also called as shaping machine. So as we have already discussed, the shaping operation is performed on a shaper machine. Now the planing. Planing operation is performed in a machine tool called as planer, also called as planing machine. So the planing operation is performed over a machine which is known as the planer machine. Next point, for shaping, here quick return mechanism is integrated with the ram that holds the cutter. So shaping machine uses quick return mechanism for tool movement. Now here you can see the shaper machine. So the cutting action is performed only during forward stroke, and no cutting action is performed during the reverse stroke. So the reverse stroke is an idle stroke. So we have to minimize the time for the idle stroke, and that can be done with the help of quick return motion mechanism. Okay, as there is no cutting during the reverse stroke, so we have to complete that stroke in a least possible time, and that can be done with the help of quick return motion mechanism. So here the quick return motion mechanism is attached to the cutting tool. That means it is attached to the ram and ultimately to the cutting tool. Okay, so here quick return mechanism is integrated with the ram that holds the cutter. So shaping machine uses quick return mechanism for tool movement. Okay, so in shaping machine we are using the quick return motion mechanism for the cutting tool. Now the planing. Here quick return mechanism is integrated with the work table that holds the workpiece. So planing machine uses quick return mechanism for work table movement. So here you can see the planing machine. Now in planing machine also the cutting action is performed only during forward stroke, and no cutting is performed during return stroke, right? So again we have to minimize the time for the return stroke, and it is done again with the help of quick return motion mechanism. But here the difference is, as we are giving reciprocating motion to the table, so your quick return motion mechanism is integrated with the table of the machine in case of planer machine. Next point, shaper is traditionally a small machine and preferred for a smaller job. So here you can compare the two different machines, that is shaper and planer. So shaper is comparatively a smaller machine as compared to planer machine. Here you can see the two different machine. So as compared to planer machine, the shaper is a smaller machine and it is preferred for a smaller jobs because it is having a small table and we can fix only one cutting tool over here. So the shaper machine is preferred for a smaller job. Now the planer. Planer is larger machine and can accommodate heavier and larger job. So here you can see the planer machine, which is comparatively large to the shaper machine, and it is basically used for the heavy jobs. Okay, so as it is having a very large table, so we can fix a long job over that table because it can accommodate the heavier and larger jobs. Next point, it provides low material removal rate, thus shaping is less productive. So here, as the table of this machine is very small, so ultimately it affects the material removal rate because we can fix a small job over this machine. Again, we can fix only one cutting tool over here, and that reduces the material removal rate of the shaper machine. Okay, so the shaper machine provides low material removal rate, thus shaping is less productive. Now the planer. Planer has longer stroke length and can take heavy cuts, so material removal rate is high and the operation is productive. So here you can see we can fix a large job over this table. So the planer machine has a longer stroke because it is having a long table, and it can be used for heavy cuts also because it's a bulky and heavy machine. Okay, and that makes it material removal rate more as compared to your shaper machine, and hence it is more productive as compared to shaper machine. Now the next point, only one cutting tool can be used at a time. So here you can see the shaper machine. This is your shaper machine. So you can fix only one cutting tool over here. So here you have to fix a single point cutting tool, and with which you can remove the material from the surface of the workpiece. So we can fix only one cutting tool over here in case of shaper machine. Now the planer, facility to accommodate multiple tools and simultaneous using of all them is also available in some planing machine. So here I have added an image of planer machine which is having over which we can fix two different cutting tools. So this is nothing but the tool post. So here you can fix your first cutting tool, and here you can fix the second cutting tool, right? So there are few machines, there are few planer machines on which you can fix 2 or 3 cutting tools, right? And it ultimately increases the productivity of that machine. So this is a table where you can fix the workpiece, and the table will have a reciprocating motion, and the feed motion is given with the help of these cutting tools. And here you can fix the 2 different cutting tools for removing the material from the surface of the workpiece. So this is the difference in between shaping